security camera so I can use it for these videos. We'll see how well it works.
Just got a couple of unexpected projects that I'm working on right now. This, which I just cleaned up years of gunk on. Let's get at these labels. Is a PC-707 crimp machine for doing hydraulic hose. Any kind of hose, really. First hose that it's going to make. This is to replace this slightly aging main line on its own system. And it came with a whole bunch of dies. I actually contacted the hose guys through eBay, and they were kind enough to tell me what sizes I have. So it goes into this die set, up through the middle here, vertically, bench. This plate goes in the machine up here. Bottom die plate. Die bowls. Die sets. The hose goes in the bottom, and the cup goes on top. And you'll notice this gap here. And this presses down, it crimps the hose. And this notched cup is for crimping bent tube couplings. You just face the notch forward, and then keep the thread end of the bent tube forward to clear the notch in the cup. The manual says that with this you can do 45 or 90 degree block type couplings, but it also says that you can't use this cup with all of the die sets. What we're gonna have to do is get this machine all gone through. Came from an advanced auto store that was going out of business. I was helping move some machines that my boss had bought from them. And this was just something that they were going to throw away because it was included in the price of what we got everything they had left for, but nobody had any use for it. And I decided I would take it on because it looks pretty cool and it actually retails for quite a bit. And it'll be a useful thing to have in Dad's shop that we're going to trick out. And then the other project, unexpected, is this old Kwik Way valve grinder. I don't have the manual yet because they weren't like $20 for it. Pretty old machine. Grimy. But seriously legit. So I'm just working on getting this stuff cleaned up and moved over to the other shop. Right now it's in the garage, which is filled with projects that we need to take care of. But I just thought I would make a quick video to show these two new works in progress. Probably do individual videos for them, maybe. Eventually, start to finish, from what they look like now to where we install them and when we first use them. Okay, so I forgot to hit record for about an hour, and I got the crimper cleaned up considerably. I don't think it's actually actively leaking, The word I got was that the auto parts store that had it before just spent like $400 on some parts for it. I don't know what, but it's all cleaned up. It's sitting here. Once we get it set up, we'll have to make a new spec chart for it. I don't quite understand why, how, but from all of the Hose Nerds videos I've watched, you gotta see what it actually does, do some math, and you can put stuff in and they'll actually generate this chart for you that shows a bunch of hose crimp stuff that someday I will know. Currently I do not. And this part here has got like a reservoir and a pump and an on-off switch. Be aware, if you turn this sideways, it starts to leak hydraulic fluid out of this cap here, which when you pull straight up, sink a hole straight down into this. I don't know anything about hydraulic systems, so we'll learn together as I fumble through crimping hoses. That has to lay horizontal. It's got a mounting plate down there. You can mount it somewhere. This has to go vertical because the idea here is that this opening here overhangs your bench, and then you can pull the hose up from the bottom, do your crimping with all of your dies and stuff. Like I showed you earlier, you hit crimp and it goes down. This goes down until it engages this little switch here, which I guess tells it to stop, and then you're crimped. So it seems straightforward and also complicated. So it fits right in here. Do I marry it now? So, after getting that 900-pound beast, I don't know how much it weighs, but it's crazy heavy. Freed up my cart. I got the Kwik Way grinder pulled up here to get a little bit of clean. So this valve grinder was living in a used car lot, kind of. One of those deals where they had about 20 used cars for sales, and an old guy that works on the junkers that come in and then sells them. And this was listed just on Marketplace, and I messaged the guy several times for a couple months. He never responded. Then I happened to look at the rest of his listings and noticed that they were all used cars that had like an actual business listing. So I called there, and the guy was like, well, I'm getting a colonoscopy, so hit me up next week. And so I did, and he gave it to me for $50. Everything seems to move, but it is dirty, and it has been sitting in the same spot for 20 years or so. So right now, I'm just going to give it a clean. It is a XC series, by the looks of the serial code there. We'll get a better look at that, throw it up eventually. Maybe have some legible things on the motors here. Don't know. Just going to clean it up, sit them on the bench. So this is pretty grimy. Sat in the corner of an active shop, not being used for a couple decades. Kwik Way XC 1358. So, not the most common one. It's got their patented 6-ball chuck system, unsure. So this is the wheel. That cuts you 45 on the valve. This whole chuck moves back and forth. Here's, I'm guessing, your dresser. Maybe. No, this is your dresser. That would almost certainly need to be your dresser. This is coolant. Looks like this one is broken off, or just designed to go straight down onto the wheel. This one here goes straight to this wheel. This side is for doing the other end of the valve, for setting your lash and whatnot. So this motor turns this, both sides are grinding wheels. This motor turns the chuck that the valve goes into. Anyway, I'm gonna vacuum out the tray so that I'm not just pouring gunk into that. We'll clean it up with some undisclosed solvent and see what she looks like under all this grime.
So I've got my already kind of dirty solvent and my already kind of dirty rags. So we'll do those right after. It's supposed to catch a lot of the grimies. That helps. I'm getting some today. Let me tell you. So, I'll try it out there. Let's vacuum it out. Piece of plastic. No bueno. Might not be advisable. But we're gonna go through these anyway. This one says Century. Well, after vacuuming it out, we can see there is some surface rust, nothing bad. It's probably at its worst down in here. Cool thing about these old machines is that they're just made to last forever. So you're very rarely gonna have corrosion damage beyond repairability. This is very minor. Might just give it an electrolytic derusting just because it's something I've always wanted to figure out how to do, and it would benefit because this at some point I'm just going to take down to every component. Don't know anything about this specific machine. Gotta save up, literally gotta save up to get the manual. But eventually we'll take it all apart, try to track down whatever pieces we need to make her whole, and use it. I can find a couple wood blocks. So even just 1 month in the machine shop has taught me that one of the most important tools on your bench is about 4 equal distant lengths of 2x4, about this size, that you have used to level things out, prop things up for so long that they've been coated with, it doesn't even make sense, but they've been coated with so much petrochemical, gasoline and oil and diesel and everything else that somehow they're just like fossilized, inflammable. These are fresh, believe it or not. These are old. So they came out of one of Dad's houses that we gutted, so they're decades old, but they are untouched by automotive yummy. So these 4 will be ours, and we'll see how dirty we can get them. Get about 30 years out of these pieces of wood in our shop. We're gonna start by leveling the Kwik Way above this lip so that I can actually move the parts without it, flexing down. Perfect. Oh, like a glove. This one's too big, needs to be going down for the cart. Oh my goodness. Couldn't have written it better. Okay, now Now it's making more sense. I've got my head out of my ass and I see how the machine works. Okay, this is most definitely the front. This is your chuck that you chuck the valve into. This is the grinding wheel that spins to grind the valve. You chuck the valve in and then you set your 45. You lock it down. This grinding wheel is spinning. This is supposed to move it back and forth, and it does not. So that is an issue. This whole motor here on this tray, I believe, moves with this. Something should move with this. Yeah, so there's, I can feel the drive in there, kind of wiggling with that lash point right there. And it goes up. And it does have a linkage that goes right around this shaft, which you can see me spinning. It doesn't actually touch. Yeah, it does. Well, it might. Yep. So there's something going on there. What should happen is this is spinning. Woo, 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 woo. Spinning the chuck. Valve is spinning. It's preset to 45. This I touch up and grind with, but it's not moving anything. So these dressing bits move around freely, but this still doesn't do anything. This is totally dead. So definitely an issue, but not for today. Today we're just cleaning her up, seeing what we got. We're highly distractible, which is nothing new. Got this Century motor we looked at on here. Let's see what this other one is. Oh yeah. Looks like the Century's probably a replacement motor because this is very different. There's the Century made right here in St. Louis. General Electric AC, made in Indiana. She's messy. Definite vibes of a newer motor. Remember how I was saying earlier, this part moves and you set it to your 45. Well, this has markings, 45, 30, all the way down to 15 degrees. So 15 to 45 markings right there. It's actually cleaning up a little better than I expected it to be honest with you. Still gonna take it completely apart. Obviously you have to, since it doesn't move in the way that it's supposed to. But what I'm saying is it could be worse. From like the starting line, I've seen way worse that people wanted considerably more money for. $50. You're gonna take this all day, every day, every time. Even if you're just gonna paint it and sell it. I'm not gonna get too crazy down here on the bottom because I'm clearly gonna have to take this all apart. I guess now, this back end here, this is this attachment here that's the end of your valves. And obviously a junk that maybe doesn't go with it. Yeah, it needs to clip to the wire wheel. Don't know what the hell it is though. Its own little return line for the coolant over here. It comes out through here, comes around the side, and back into the main reservoir. Looks like it's maybe copper line or something. I've already learned that these do get very hot when you're grinding valves. And I see some people using ones without coolant at all. And I can't imagine, because every once in a while, the guy will not use the coolant on this side of his machine. I'll hand it to you. It's just, oh my god. That is pretty seized on there. So we'll just hit it with this. And then maybe next time they come to play. Matter of fact, I'll just do that kind of everywhere. Okay, I'll get this moved over to the shop. She'll be ready to go when we are. It's totally loose now. Does nothing. No catching whatsoever. At first it was catching a little bit. Now, she's just floppy. She ain't doing nothing. Nothing's engaged. Okay. So she cleaned up a bit, lubed up a bit. Used to be red. See, it's got this like burnt orange thing going on. Then you get over to like the parts where it was just more deeply saturated early and preserved the original color a bit more. And you get this kind of deeper red, which I think makes it, generally speaking, I think those are the older ones. This Kwik Way eventually turns green, but this isn't, I don't think, as old as the big red ones that you see everywhere that I think don't have the coolant part. I'll probably research more about this before I upload the video and insert things that I'm saying that make me sound smarter. But I also might just upload it like this. Okay, I grabbed the valve, threw it in here. I set it to 45 degrees to see what I'm looking at, and it made me realize that's where normally you'd want to land at the end. See, this is like as tight as I can get this. And it's just flopping everywhere, and when it spins you can just see it like gobs will run out. So then I realized, wait a second, I don't have the parts manual or anything, but it sure looks like, counting 3 balls there, I'm guessing the other 3 that make the patented 6-ball chucking system would be in a piece that goes to about right here where the valve guide would end, which is where you want to chuck it to anyway. So you'd have 3 more balls around here holding down, and then it would come out here and then spin. You would touch up if this worked. So far my assessment. Coolant system, these just need replaced with modern
Lock line.
And it looks like we've got half a chuck, so we gotta decide whether finding a piece to complete this Kwik Way system is viable, or if we are replacing the entire chuck, and if so, with what. Also, we need to make sure everything runs true regardless. You gotta figure out why this won't move. Take apart all of this, get this all done anyway. Figure out if we can get this to slide. So I figured out this dresser for this stone, just to make it flat dresser. Don't know what this does. I don't know. Over here, I think we've got, let's see if you look, this is what I think this is for. Take your valve, set it in here like so, tighten it down. We can move this whole stone over this way by moving the lever that way. Just move it like this, and then, but I don't know what this attachment goes to. Got what looks to be a V-groove of some kind in there. It clamps down somewhere, clearly, and has a coolant line going to it. Really need to get the manual and parts list for this. Don't know what that does. And then I still have not found out what this ear broke off of. It's got, apparently, Kwik Way burnt orange. It was once upon a time red. But if I can't find where this rough edge was broken off from, then maybe there's another part to it that this came from that's still laying in that shop. And it looks like it's got an adjustable, the same thing as these dressing, but not nearly as heavy duty. But I'm hoping it didn't come from up under here where my mysterious issues are coming from that aren't allowing this to slide. But there you have it. Old Kwik Way valve grinder. As it's going to sit for however long it takes for us to decide to dig into her.
Can you flip it over and see underneath it? Or?
It's about 100 pounds. Here, hold the camera for a second. This legit weighs about 100 pounds. But I haven't seen the bottom of it. Something smashed my foot real good when that fell. I could not sell it, I just had to hold it.
So much for your soda, huh?
Yeah, it sucks. These boards that I found were like made for this. Ooh, I smashed my toe good. Let me show you over there for a second.